Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Jade True in Love. Here to recap the final Dynamite of 2021. Was a good show. Final Dynamite of TNT next week. Being on TBS, making the move. And a return to Daly's Place. Good to be back. Or good to see Daly's Place for AEW once again. Hope everyone had a good year. 2021 almost in the books. But as far as Dynamite alone and AEW, 2021 was a very good year for AEW. Of course, the year started with Young Bucks as champions, the tag champs, Kenny Omega, world champion. Of course, there were some hiccups going back to Revolution. The exploding barbed wire death match. The debuts, seemingly, of Ethan Page and Christian Cage being kind of botched in a way. But towards the second half of the year, we had some really fun matches, great venues, of course. AEW Grand Slam in Queens, New York was fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, can't complain there. Of course, Long Island a couple weeks ago had some great venues to showcase for AEW. And again, some great matches. MJF, Darby, the tag team match, Steel Cage, All Out between Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks. I mean, just a lot to get to. We had Omega versus Jungle Boy. Just a bunch of fun matches that we had to go through, and AEW is going to keep rolling into 2022. But with that, now let's get into the review of Dynamite. Dynamite was a multi tag team heavy show, but still a fun show nonetheless. Of course, there's one match I think most can agree was disappointing, and where we go from there, not sure, but I think we can all agree which it is. And Jade, Cargill, and Thunderosa, I'll get more into that in a bit. But Mercedes Martinez is all elite. She interfered in the Jade Cargill Thunderosa match, costing Thunderosa the match and the finals in the TBS title tournament. I thought, okay, if Jade Cargill was to advance, it'd be by interference by either Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Rebel, no, disappointing. But it's not any shade towards Mercedes Martinez, but just the whole segment felt like a big disappointment. And yeah, but we'll get to more than that in a bit. To start the show, however, Jurassic Express, Lucha Brothers, and Christian Cage versus FTR, Private Party, and Matt Hardy. 10-man tag. FTR and Hardy Family Office got the win here. Chaotic but fun 10-man tag to open the show. There was a nice spot where it was a gin juice into a side effect by Matt Hardy. Very nice, near full. Penta got a big tag in, and the Lucha Brothers worked over FTR. Hit a double DT, and then Phoenix hit a senton, and Phoenix fashion, he has double springboard moonsault onto both FTR. And a big tag to Luchasaurus. He ran wild. And it was curious to see some tension between Lucha Brothers and Jurassic Express, because we knew the collision was going to happen down the line, which, based on later in the show, it's going to be next week. But it was nice to see some dissension between and animosity between the two teams. But when Luchasaurus was about to end the show, Penta landed a blind tag, which Luchasaurus did not take a liking to. Penta a backstabber on Jax for a near fall. Big topes by, or is actually a springboard, dive to the outside by Phoenix. And a tope by Jungle Boy. Back in the ring. A blind tag by Christian Cage to Penta. Again, more confliction between two. Both collided. And FTR hit the big rig on Christian Cage for the win. FTR, Matt Hardy, and Private Party see the win. And later in the show, we saw some dissension. We saw some backstage conflict between the two sides of Jurassic Express and the Lucha Brothers. So then, 6-man tag, trios match, Santana Ortiz and Eddie Kingston versus 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. This was a good match, or I would say okay match between the two trios. You of course would like to see Santana Ortiz be involved in something more meaningful, but I think with the tag team title match happening next week, that perhaps then they can advance into a bigger storyline between for the tag titles. But with what happened after the match, made me a little worrisome. So the Santana Ortiz hit a wheelbarrow press slam on Garcia for near fall. After match or after break, Santana Ortiz went for more double team offense. Santana went for a moonsault on Matt Lee, but Matt got the knees up and rolled up Santana for the win. Afterwards, there was a beatdown by 2.0 Daniel Garcia, and with the way, and I hope it was just a good sell job, but with the way Kingston was streaming towards Santana, a little worried that he got dinged up in the post-match attack by 2.0. And then, but attack with the ring bell by Garcia. And then afterwards, Chris Jericho, who has been gone ever since that backstage attack by 2.0, came back with Floyd, the Bat, and cleaned house from 2.0 and Garcia, which leveled a confrontation between Kingston and Chris Jericho, with Ortiz being the peacemaker. So, very interesting that they're still giving this feud because we hadn't seen Jericho in a few weeks. Kind of felt it with the backstage attack that was going to happen. You know, it seems like they're building this Kingston, Chris Jericho feud first 2.0. Definitely intriguing aspect, but that was pretty much how the segment ended. Hopefully, Santana is okay. He was holding his head and face quite a bit, so hopefully he's okay. Because that would be a bit of a blow for Santana Ortiz, who you want to see more highly of, but with things not being in the cards right now, but the tag team title match next week, we'll see. But yeah, MJF, who is backstage with Wardlow and Shawn Spears, talked about CM Punk and Sting, talking his dislike for the scary spot where Sting hurled MJF over the top rope and landing on his head. Also claimed how CM Punk has been running from him like a coward and says that he's done with them. And then he went to Wardlow, saying how Wardlow has to stop this powerbomb rampage he's been doing the last few weeks and just stick to stacking up wins. to qualify for the Face of the Revolution ladder match at Revolution. Hint, having Wardlow be in the match. And they made a stipulation. MJF had Smart Mark Sterling arrive in the room, talking about the stipulation that if Wardlow wins the Face the Revolution ladder match and wins the TNT Championship, that he will relinquish it to MJF. So, again, more fuel to the fire. That is going to be the MJF Wardlow split. That's going to happen in a few months. I mean, Wardlow should not split from MJF until MJF wins at least the World Championship, which I'm assuming will be in a few months, but yeah, it would be a bit early, but again, more fuel to the eventual fire. Then we go to Wardlow first calling the lady. I'm sure many will remember. For those who don't watch Dark and Dark Elevation, which I skimmed through from time to time, Colin Delaney, of course, used to be on WWE ECW, and back in the day as a very good jobber. Now he has a place in AEW. Here he was fed to Wardlow, who went on his powerbomb rampage again. Simple. 4 powerbombs. 1, 2, 3. Wardlow wins. Simple as that. And then Shawn Spears took a cheap shot after with the chair. Simple there. Nothing much. Just here to get Wardlow another win. They said he's on, well, before the match, he's on a 16 match win streak. Now make that 17. So Wardlow got momentum behind him. So afterwards, we saw more tease of conflict within the, I guess you could say, the elite. But so we had the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, and the All Elite Kyle O'Reilly. We're backstage, and Young Bucks talked about how they're not really a happy family, where Kyle hasn't said hello even towards the Young Bucks since arriving. Kyle then sarcastically said hello, Matt, and hello, Nick. Asked for a one-on-one chat with Adam Cole. So the Young Bucks, not taking a liking into this, went away, and Bobby Fish left. Talked about their past, talked about their heat. Kyle said he knows that Fish has his back for later tonight, but he said Adam Cole, he's not sure, and he'll just have to see. So again, a little tease of conflict between whichever you want to say their names. You could call them the Elites, you could call them the Super Click and Redragon. I mean, it's, yeah, some conflict there. Dan Lambert. Everyone's favorite heat magnet from American Top Team. Especially since this was in Jacksonville. You knew kind of that he was going to be here. So, Dan Lambert, he crapped on Cody, saying, and talked about Arn Anderson sucking up to someone that's sucking up to the boss, Tony Khan, man. Talked about Brandy Rhodes. Made some remarks, I bet. Just hilarious. And then all of a sudden, Brandy, she came out to confront Dan Lambert, and it was puzzling. Really puzzling. Why? Because, similarly to last week, people don't like Dan Lambert. People hate Brandy and Cody. So it's a conflict of, especially for the crowd and Daniel's place. You know, yes, Dan Lambert is a heat magnet with how much people hate him, but that just a conflict. So then Randy and Lambert were about to throw down, but Dustin came in to try to play peacemaker, and Ethan Page of the Man of the Year threw a cheap shot in to Dustin, and that was how the segment ended. I mean, why was Dustin, her brother-in-law, there and not her husband Cody? That's puzzling. And now we got Cody versus Ethan Page on Rampage for the TNT title. I mean, that's just an odd dilemma in this. I mean, everybody wants Cody to turn heel. Everybody wants him to turn heel. And until he does, it's going to be conflict after conflict after conflict. And him in this feud, him and Brandy, because people hate Brandy too. People, I mean, yes, people love to boo Dan Lambert, but this just, it's not working. So, Cody better turn heel, otherwise this is not. This is gonna fall flat on his face, pretty much. So simple there. I mean, I'm intrigued for the match with Cody versus Ethan Page, but you know the dynamic between people hating Cody and people liking to boo Dan Lambert. It's just not a good dilemma to have. So then, the disappointment of the show. Thunderosa versus Jade Cargill. TBS title, semifinals. So, first, Thunderosa, I must say, she came prepared. She was ready. And we know how good Thunderosa is. We know that eventually we're going to have to get back to Thunderosa for Britt Baker for the Women's Championship. Jade Cargill, you know, she has a good fan base. She looks the part. I mean, that's the thing. She looks like a physical specimen. And but when it comes to her in-ring work, it doesn't back up her looks are there. She looks the part. The part for her in-ring is not close to where it needs to be. And in this spot and with the way it unfolded, it just did not sit well. And I think many in Daly's place agree. So, Rosa, you know, she was targeting the leg of Cargill. Cargill, the bigger woman, trying to chop down the big tree, so to speak. Cargill, she was going for a backbreaker, trying to wrench over Rosa. And then this match felt sloppy, I would say. So, Mark Sterling, he went over to give Jade Cargill a drink of water. And then the referee was distracted. And then, so while the referee was arguing with Mark Sterling, Jade pushed Rosa into the bottom turnbuckle. And she got knocked over the head with a bottle by a hooded figure. So then Rosa out, and then Jade hits Jaded for the win, and Jade Cargill advances to face Ruby Soho for the TBS title next week. And again, like I said earlier, I would have been fine if it was Rebel or Jamie Hayter or Britt Baker. But Mercedes Martinez. Now, Revolution is at the end of February, which is 2 months away. So it's like, okay, obviously Rosa didn't lose clean. So it's just like, are we perhaps getting a Mercedes Martinez Thunderosa feud? I mean, it's bizarre because you don't want someone. And Mercedes Martinez is good. She's one of the best women's wrestlers out there. But you don't want someone to come in and lose their first feud. And it just feels like this was a debacle. I mean, you hate to see it because you would have liked to see Mercedes Martinez. That's the other thing. So, no offense to Mercedes Martinez, but there are other very good women free agents out there. And she may not be signed. This may be only for a certain time period. But, I mean, you got Ember Moon. You got Tegan Knox out there. I mean, Chelsea Green. I think she's a free agent. I'm not sure. But, I mean, these women out there. And if you sign Mercedes Martinez over them, it just feels like a debacle, really, with the whole situation. Afterwards, Ruby Soho came out for a save to set up this match for next week. I mean, I'm just going to move on. I have no other words to say. But luckily, we went from that to CM Punk. CM Punk, he was in the ring. First time at Dana's place. So, he was out there. He congrats J.R. Jim Ross for being back. Said he's the best to do it. And we're all glad that you're back. So, JR, you can tell, was touched. He reflected on Brewery Lee, saying how what an impact he made on this place when it comes to Daniel's place. And said that whoever doesn't respect what Brody Lee did for AEW, you feel sorry for because they never met him. And it was type of things like Brody Lee, that what he did that made them want to be in AEW. So he talked about marks, he talked about Twitter trolls such as MJF, saying that he also has a goal in being the AEW World Champion. He quoted JR saying that if you're not in the company to be the world champion, then why are you there? And he's correct, and he wants to be the world champion. He talked about MJF's desire to be a world champion, and he said it would be fitting for him to be the roadblock and to thwart his journey to become champion. Also, he made a little flashback because I knew it as soon as he said it. Going back to the famous pipe bomb CM Punk cut 10.5 years ago on Monday Night Raw, he said, on this microphone, in this ring, even at commentary, nobody could touch him. That was just hilarious. Also, he said that MJF was a bigger waste of con money than Tim Tebow. So that was a fun little dig. Respect to Tebow. He was good at Florida. He was quality with the Broncos, but yeah, it just didn't work out with Jags. But anywho, good segment. Good to see CM Punk congratulating Jim Ross. Because again, we're glad to hear and see Jim Ross back at the announce table for AEW. Just arguably the best to ever do it. Taz did good in JR's absence. You know, and yeah, he's cancer free, so good for JR. Then we run from CM Punk to Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman, he was in the ring with Tony Schiavone, recalled last week, saying that Malachi Black tried to end his brother's career in being Griff Garrison. And that while he try to help his brother, what happened afterwards seemingly went to Black. And then he found himself laying on the mat next to his brother. So he called out Malachi, saying that next week he will see a different side of Brian Pillman Jr. So then, afterwards, the lights went out, came back on. Malachi Black was in the entranceway, pointing at Pillman, and then lights went back off, and Black disappeared. Simple as that. Mind games, Pillman, Black. Match was signed for next week, so should be interesting. Lineup for Rampage Friday night. So we got Darby on for Santy Bowens. Cody Rhodes defends the TNT Championship for Ethan Page. I hope this lasts this feud because I just want it to be over. Penelope Ford and the Bunny for Ty Conti and Anna Jay in a street fight. Ty Conti and Jade deserve much better, and perhaps with Ruby Soho facing Jade Cargill being next week, perhaps after that, it opens up things a bit more for the women's division. That's all I'll say. Lineup for next week: Dynamite. The debut on TBS. Lucha Brothers defend the tag team titles. First Jurassic Express. Jade Cargill versus Ruby Soho. Finals for the TBS title tournament. Malachi Black versus Brian Pillman Jr. And Hangman Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship. The rematch all lined up for next week. So a fun debut to take place on TBS. Should be fun. And then next Saturday will be Battle of the Belts. Ruby Soho or Britt Baker versus Rio. I'm intrigued. Is that the only match on the card? I'm not sure. That's the only match that's been announced, so I don't know. We'll see. Main event: Adam Cole and the reunited Redragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. First best friends: Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy. Trios match. This match was good. A little bit all over the place, but good. So, again, it felt weird because Kyle O'Reilly, first match in AEW, looked good and he looked like he was having fun. So, Chuck Taylor, he was dumped on the apron by Redragon. Did catch a break. Redragon hit a backbreaker knee drop combination on Trent for a 2 count. Orange Cassidy got the hot tag, hit a crossbody and a suicida stunner on Cole. And then it looked to be a butterfly DT German suplex combination by Redragon for a 2 count. They hit their high-low finisher for a near fall. Then it all spilled to the outside. They were fighting on the apron in the ramp area. Cole went for a Panama Sunrise. It was never going to work. Panama Sunrise on the Chuck on the ramp, but he was dumped on the apron back first. Had to have sucked. Hit a suit. Then he got a tope, clearing out Redragon. Trent hit his spear on the Cole on the ramp. Tossed Cole back in the ring. Orange hit a diving DT for near fall. Then best friends hit one pile driver after another. Orange Cassidy hit the beach break, but at the very last moment, Redragon for the save. Kyle O'Reilly went for a boot to Orange Cassidy, but instead Orange Cassidy ducked and Cole took the brunt of it, knocking him off the apron. Cassidy rolled up O'Reilly for a near fall. Brandon Cutler ran out there like a weird man. Went out there, distracted the best friends, got leveled, distracted the referee. Then the Young Bucks came out, hit super kicks on the best friends. Then Redragon hit Chasing the Dragon, their finisher for the win. Redragon and Adam Cole get the win here. Kyle O'Reilly wins his debut in AEW. Fun match, good show. And the return to Daniel's Place, the last Dynamite on TNT, and the last Dynamite of 2021. I have to admit, it's been a fun year, not just for Dynamite, but this year in general for me, and can't wait for 2022. I'll tell you that. But nonetheless, that's the review for everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I did too. I'll see everyone back on Saturday as I make my review for Rampage, the review for first review for 2022. But hope everyone's been safe. Happy holidays. Again, if you're still enjoying your Christmas holiday, be safe. But nonetheless, I'm Angel to Love. I'm getting out of here. Be safe, everyone. See you next year. Be safe. Peace.